Welcome to part one of a three-part series on the marriage covenant. In three short videos, I'm going to show you in the book of Genesis, in the first two chapters, how God created a human being and how God made a man and a woman out of the same human being. This is a very interesting study of just a few verses in Genesis that tells a different story than the narrative that we're traditionally told in our Western culture and the Judeo-Christian religions. I want you to enjoy these videos. There are three of them, very short, but I also want you to think for yourself. And I want to spur within you a desire to perhaps grab a concordance or an app on the internet and look at the words behind the words. And I think you too will discover hidden truths, an expansion of a story, a whole new perspective, and the opportunity to think for yourselves. So enjoy part one of this marriage covenant series. And after you watch this one, be sure to watch parts 2 and 3.
There's this app called Bible Hub. It's both an app and a website, and it allows us to look at different translations of the Bible. All of the major translations are available on Bible Hub. And so if you have a particular verse, you can put it into Bible Hub and then look at it across the translations. One of the things that I want to share today is the story of marriage that is revealed in the Hebrew text. What we have here is the first part of God creating human beings, and we'll see in his creation of human beings how he formed a man and a woman from the same human being and then married that human being as a man and a woman. So I know that sounds a little confusing, but let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm starting in Genesis 1:27, Genesis chapter 1 verse 27, and I'm going to use the New International Version as my reference because it is um, the one that I use commonly, and it's of course the first one. So, the first one listed, it says, "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them." When we go into Hebrew, something fascinating happens. But before I do that, I want to show you something. It says, God created mankind in his image. The the New International Version is a little bit generous. They say God created mankind in his image. The New Living Translation gets it right. They say he created human beings in his image. But then when we get down to the more traditional text, we see English Standard Version man, Berean Study Bible man, King James Version man. And so we see these translations basically saying that God created man in his image. And I know that for most of us, when we hear the word man, we think male, because in our society, a man is a male. So, what I want to show you is that that word man is not just limited to males. So, what I'm going to do is take you from the English rendering of "So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them." I'm going to take you to the Hebrew, the backstory of this. Says, "So God created Ha-Adam." This is the word, or these are the words that I'm going to start bringing to you. Ha-Adam. God created Ruddy, a human being, not a man. So the word that is translated as mankind and man is the word Ha-Adam, which means human being. God created the human being in his image, and he created him, Oto, or Otau. Oto, I think, is what it is. I'm going to highlight that. He created Oto, and he created Otam. So some translations say he created him, male and female, male, he created them. But this is what I want you to see with this, even this word otam or oto. If we look at Strong's, which is the concordance that is typically used, it's a very well-known concordance which has every word of the Bible broken down to its meaning without it being in context. So we see that Strong's 853 means eth. What the translators of the Bible did in using otam and otah or otau is that they said that in one instance it means him, in one instance it means them. But what it means is that in that singular creation of Ha-Adam, God created Ha-Adam, a human being, in his own image as male, Zakar, and female, Nikiba. Both male and female existed in that one creation of a human being. God created him or them, however you want to use it, but he only created one creature called Ha-Adam, not as a male named Adam, but as a creature or a human being, a creation called a human being.
Now, wasn't that fascinating? We see in reading the translations that a single word has been translated as mankind, human being, and man. But when we look at the text from which those translations determine the word they would use, it means human being. And from that reading of Genesis, we find that the human being was male and female. It says it right there, plain and simple. But because we have such a thought process that's influenced by our culture, but that's influenced by our religions, we still think that a human being is just a man at first. And a human being was not just a man. A human being was a being of that was one flesh, that was male and female. So click on the second video and continue exploring this series on how the human being was formed and what God did to the human being after God made the human being as one flesh, both male and female. I think you will be pleasantly surprised, perhaps a bit challenged. Both are good. And I encourage you again to read the Bible for yourself and dig a little deeper.